I'm just pumped to see this setup. Damn, have these brakes ever been done? Oh my gosh.
Okay, it wasn't that bad.
Look at that. Damn. Alright guys, we are headed to go pick up the bug with the crew cab. Look at this setup. If you guys did not watch the last video of us actually redoing everything on the paint and all the aesthetics on this truck, definitely go check that out. Super, super awesome. But I am hooked up to a trailer, so check that out. Got a camper, it's hooked up to a trailer, everything's ready to go. So we're gonna go pick up my bug. I don't think I showed it, but in the end of the last video that you guys saw with the bug, we actually blew an axle out of it. So that's gotta get fixed. And the steering coupler, that exploded, and I did weld that in the video. That needs to get fixed as well. So we're gonna go pick up the bug. Because it has a broken axle, we needed a trailer with a winch. So we do have this one. Everything's ready to go, everything's working, and we're gonna go ahead and hightail it up and pick up the bug. So I will see you guys when we get up there.
I know we'll make it right. We've been here before.
All right, look at all this garbage here, man. It's crazy. My local junkyard. Alright, look at that. It's the guy with the stuff. Alrighty, just got her all loaded up, ready to rock and roll. Seen some better days, I'll tell you that much. We got a laundry list of crap to do on this. I also noticed the exhaust fell off. That's new. I didn't notice that before. This thing is just such a royal pile of garbage. But you guys like it, I like it, it's fun, everybody likes it. It's one of those stupid cars that you can just go have fun with. So we're gonna make it all one color and actually do a lot of prep in this video, so I'm pumped. Let's get it down to the shop. We'll say hi to that thing later this year, see some cool stuff with that. But yeah, overall, look at this setup. This is just badass, I love it. I don't want my music in the background, but either way, just take it all in. Awesome.
Won't you give me a way to be free from these chains that bind me?
Sits at like 165, it's great. But you can really feel the weight even with this little car, so we're definitely gonna have to do some work to this truck to make it a little bit better to tow, but it is working. It is working. We are towing a bug right now. It's so wild. Oh, this is cool. Oh, I forgot to get gas, damn it. Made it, one piece. Now we can start working on this turd. Get this thing off the trailer and kind of push it into another spot next to all the other broken garbage. And we'll get to town on this thing, but man, I'm just pumped to see this setup. That's why I bought this thing, you know? A lot of guys are like, man, what are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with it? It's like, I'm gonna use it, you know? These trucks have been used for 40 plus years. There's no reason to stop using them. These things never die. There was a lady at the gas station that saw my truck and she liked it, and she said it reminded her of a lot of the ones that she had seen when she was younger. And she said something very specific. It's that those ones specifically, they don't die. And that is 100% true. They might rest for periods of time, but they will never die. You can always bring these ones back. There's a lot of these newer ones. Some of those computers and systems in those trucks, once those things do die, they do die. But these, a battery, get a brake clean, and a dream, and a couple of you and your buddies can have one too and get it running as well. So I'm pumped. Let's get this thing on the trailer and get to work. This thing's ridiculous. Look. Ka-chow. Look at the angle, dude. Oh my gosh. This thing is ridiculous. Look at that. Camber Nation, brother. Just all tooted up. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the exhaust falling off. That's new to me. I thought it was only the one bolt on the one side. Apparently this side's just... You don't need to know what your exhaust is doing. Somebody sabotaged me and took all my bolts out. They took all my nuts off. They sabotaged my bug and took its nuts. How dare you? We're gonna pull this thing in here. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up most of the floor, get it to where it's not rolling around in oil. And then we can start getting to work on this thing. We're gonna actually change up the paint scheme on this thing a little bit. I don't know what we'll do in this video, but I'm tired of looking at this thing. Looks like crap. And I really wanna update the paint scheme on it a little bit. So I think we're gonna do something a little bit fun. We'll see where it goes. I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna end up doing, but it'll all be one color and it'll have some cool colors on top. It'll just be cool retro little race car kind of livery thing going on.
Cool retro race car livery thing.
Yeah, that. I don't even know what's going on, I'm sure. I'm just gonna do what I'm told in terms of the paint department.
Hey! Shit! Hey!
Bang bang, skeet skeet.
All right, time to get this thing standed up. And I'm not really sure how you bug guys like to jack these things up and stand them because it's shaped like a potato wedge. I got my little 4-year-old distracted by video games. And now we're gonna figure out how I actually want to stand this thing and get the axles out of it. But the nice thing is when we broke this thing in the desert, so see over here, this axle is not doing axle things, but those bolts that are broke off in there, they're actually loose. So what ended up happening is, and that's something I'm going to change on this round, they weren't safety wired, all 6 of them. You're supposed to safety wire them like old school trophy truck stuff on hubs. You safety wire them. These were not. I don't know what it is, whether it's the angle, the vibrations, or whatever. Backs them out, they come loose, they back out. Go to the base of jump, punch the throttle, shear all the bolts off. That's basically what happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing on stands, take it apart, figure out actually what's going on. I actually have not pulled even any wheels off this thing yet, so I don't even know what's going on, but I definitely want to fix whatever the hell's going on up with this wheel, because this toe and camber issue, not okay.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Oh, it is coming off. I was like, what? I've never worked on a Volkswagen rear end like this, so I don't know what I'm doing. That'll probably become pretty obvious. I don't care. Oh my, that's a big escarpment. Got it. In a moment of... Yeah, that's about what I expected. Damn, have these brakes ever been done? Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna try to film this as best I can, but I'm hoping I get lucky on all of these. Oh, I really hope you can see that. This is what success looks like, boys. Oh my gosh. That did not just happen. Oh, that one needs a little bit of help. That one's loose. That one's loose. Yeah, they're all loose. That one might need a little bit of help. It's okay, that's why we have tools. Oh, that one's not as ideal as the other ones. It's like, you know what? I want to go, but I'm not. So step one is to get all these broken bolts out, which is going to be a pain in the butt. But luckily, they're all not, well, besides this one. This one's being a little special. Sheared all 6 bolts off, and all 6 of them were hand tight. Well, that was about the easiest broken bolt removal I've ever done. Yeah. Alright, so the last trip out, I broke this pretty good. This is what we welded back together. See? Yep, there it is. That's all we welded. Yeah, okay, that's broken. Yeah, anyways, this is a quick release, a really old one. It doesn't really work that well if I can get it off. Oh my god. The entire time I was pushing or pulling it. Okay. So the back setup in this car is not set up right, and I don't want you guys telling me that I'm doing it wrong because I didn't build this car. But you can see, if you know anything about anything, that that is not supposed to be bent right there, and you should not put a shock tab on the back of the only part of a box star that's not boxed. So I don't know why, and I know my friends did this, and I know you're probably watching, I'm not trying to bag on you, but God, man, just kills me. Just kills me. If they just moved this up a little bit, but whatever, there's a million reasons on why it was done. It was just a quick fix so they can get it out to the desert, and I can't blame them. So I'm not gonna totally redo this and fix this because it requires me to cut a lot more out of the car than I'm really willing to do right now. I just want it to work. So I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of bring this up and add some sort of box structure in here. The problem is, because of how far back it is, I can't really get in the way of the CV. It's just a big thing. So what I'm gonna do is just take a big crescent wrench, finagle it on there, something like that. And then I'm gonna put my foot right about yay, and I'm gonna try to bend this thing back and see if I can get it to come back.
Oh, I hate that. I need to make a phone call. Alright, so real quick, I'm gonna go over this. Someone, I don't even know if this was my buddies or who did this, but somebody already started DAing this like they were gonna paint it. They did like a couple little and they're like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that anymore. So I don't know why it's like that, but it is. But we are gonna keep this thing black for a little while. So I'm just gonna, just for fun, I'm gonna put some McGuire's on this thing and see how it comes out. So this is what we use on the crew cab. I use some 3D stuff as well, but this is just what I have because I ran out of the 3D stuff on the crew cab because it's the size of a freaking continent. So yeah, we're just gonna try this out and see how this goes. If it comes out of the damn bottle. Oh, that would make sense. It's a bunch of solid. Oh gosh, that was really big. Okay, whatever. So that is no prep, no wash, no nothing. And you can see the reflection of my hand in the paint. So yeah, I think it would look sick if I buffed it out. Yeah, I think I should buff it. That's so wild, yeah. Wow. That's what I keep telling all you guys. Don't need to repaint your stuff. Just try it, spend $100. Just rub it really hard. Man, I really hope one of my buddies didn't do that. That just totally ruined it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the lower arm off because we have kind of a catastrophic failure on this arm. And so you can actually see, if you look towards the front wheel, towards the body line of the car, you can see that this brake system is actually bent in. So it's towed out and it's actually cambered in. So that's why when we were looking at the car, when it was coming into the shop, it's got a gnarly bend to it. You can actually see it right there. So these arms gotta come off. As you can see, that tab is really, really badly bent. Essentially that bend is causing a shortened distance right there, which pulls the top of the arm in. So I'm gonna pull these guys off, pull that guy off, get the shock out because you gotta redo that mount. Because obviously the shock should be probably 2-3 inches up on the arm. And then that means we need to raise this up. So it's a whole process, but I'm not gonna make it too nice because this car cannot be too nice. And I have to redo the back half of the car as well for the exact same reason. There's a lot going on. And it can be a death cart all at once, but it still needs to be somewhat safe and I want the motor to stay in the car. So I'm gonna start cutting some stuff and putting some more tooth in this car. Ooh! Did you see that? It actually sparked.
It actually sparked.
I didn't get it. I don't think you got
Damn.
it. But anyways, we're gonna do a little spring swap here in the old ghetto spring swap station. What's going on right now is this thing had a 300 over 400, but it's got what, a 14 and a 12?
Yeah.
So
14, 12, it should be flipped around.
yeah, I was gonna say, so the shock, the way it's mounted is this way. Normally when you have a different spring size, you want the shorter one to compress first on the top, not the bottom. So it's actually flipped for whatever reason. So we're gonna actually put the original setup back on it, redo the shock mounts, get them in the correct spot so we can actually use all the travel. See, this one's already swapped and it does have preload in it. What the preload will allow us to do is actually essentially stiffen up our spring rate a little bit, our initial spring rate on the hit of a jump. We can actually dial it into where it's not slamming the tire to the body anymore. But also on droop, we need to get that figured out with the shock mounts because full droop needs to be just before, like an inch before the limitation of the CV shaft because I don't have 930s. I have bigger bus axles, I think is what it was. I don't remember what axles they are, but they're a step down from 930s. So I have a set of 930s over there, but I can't run them yet, but they're these guys, which I can't remember the name of them, but they're not that big. But I'm going ahead and I'm cutting off the tabs on the arms. They're all bent up. Now you can really see what I was talking about before on this arm. Essentially bent really bad, and that pulled the top of this arm inward, so we gotta get all that straightened up, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, right, so we're jamming away on the arms. Franklin went ahead and burned up the cover plate, so this came out super good compared to what we started with. See this guy over here. So this is all 1/8 inch, and you can see how much straighter it is now. So you can see it was a little bit rough, and then the cover plate just makes it perfect. So now we can put a new shock tab, slide the tab up on the arm. The issue before, as you can see, it was hanging off, and that's due to making your upper shock mount before your lower. Yeah, so the big thing if you're doing any sort of suspension geometry, set up the lower point for it first, because that's the part that moves. So you're gonna wanna put the shock where you want it on the arm, beam, or whatever link you have going on. Set that in the position that you want, start cycling it and figuring out where the shock's gonna land up top. That was done backwards on this car, so that's what we're fixing today. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this tab off. You can see how absolutely wild this one is. This one was worse. So this one's gonna be quite the challenge to get this thing straight, but you can actually see that the big problem with this is because it bent in, it pulled the toe and camber out of whack. So hopefully just torching this and straightening this out, beating it back straight, will roll that part of the arm back, and then we'll be able to put a cover plate on it, roll some tabs, put it back in the car, cut the upper mount out, and put it in the correct spot. So we do have some Boss material to make some shock mounts out of. A whole lot of fun fabrication stuff is gonna go down, because we have a lot of material and only a little bit of time, so let's get after it. Progress. We have an arm, CV, and a shock in the back of this car, and we're actually going to show you guys how we gained at least 3 inches of down travel out of the car, which is one of the things that absolutely needed to happen on this car. So this has a set of, I believe, bus axles in it. It's not a set of 930s, it's just smaller than that. Like I said before, I'm still learning all the bug stuff. This does have the, I believe it's the 002 trans, the bus trans, and so you can actually see right now I have a substantial amount more down travel than I had before. So everything's kind of mocked up. This is all the new stuff compared to the old, and you can already see just how much more down travel we have in this setup. So before, the car was strapped much higher, actually almost 2 inches higher at the strap, which, you know, correlates to 3-4 inches at the hub. And I believe the reason that was happening was these are actually plunge axles. They're allowed to move around a little bit. And I believe when they were set up the first time, I think the plunge kind of scared whoever set the shocks setup up to where the point to where it was going to break the axle. Now, I'm sure in the CV axle bug world, there's a certain amount of plunge you're allowed to have. If it plunges one way or the other too much, you probably can shear the end of the axle, if that does make sense. I don't know what the magic number is, but from what I've been told by a bunch of other guys, and I'm still learning this as I go, so you're more than welcome to comment down below whatever you guys think. Basically, we're gonna go down to where it binds, bring it up an inch, and just run it there. So the car doesn't make enough power, really. I'm not dropping the clutch in second hard enough, and if I break an axle, I'd rather break an axle than a trans. So we're gonna go ahead and strap this thing up, and ironically, the nice thing, and that's what Franklin and I were hoping, is actually this is fully extended on the shock shaft right now, and you can see it's actually in a better position already. The nice thing is we went ahead and moved it to the rear mount on the current setup that my buddies put in, which actually will work. Shout out to you guys for saving me a little bit of work. Is we'll actually pull this lower spring off, and we'll pull the shock up, compress it a little bit, and we'll end up putting a tab pretty much smack dab in the middle of this arm. The other nice thing is the shock before was located more around here. This is where it bent before. So we're actually gonna put the shock, instead of being like over here, we're gonna put it much further out. That will actually give the rear of the car a little more stability, because these cars don't have sway bars. So overall, I think this setup will work a lot better. We're gonna pull this lower spring off, get that tab made, cycle the whole system, just make sure it works, and then we should be good to go. So we're gonna have a bug that actually doesn't suck.
Yes, it's not gonna suck anymore.
It's gonna be great.
Sit hot right and everything right good.
Yeah, so that was the biggest thing with this car, is that it would chase the back end. The front end was beautiful, and the back would buck like crazy. So we're actually gonna be gaining about 3 to 4 inches of down travel in this thing. It should absolutely eat whoops, which is sweet. And it might even do a wheelie.
I'm thinking it will.
Hell yeah.
Safety first. Okay, it wasn't that bad.
Come on. Ooh, that's close.
What?
On the body. You barely fit your finger in it. You got room.
Damn, dude, you got all the travels.
Yeah!
Wait.
Whoa! Hey, let's go, baby.
I'd bump it right there.
Dude, that's freaking baller. Okay,
Dude,
wait.
where's that tape measure? That's what I'm saying. Where the fuck is that tape?
How much?
12, 25.
And it had what? 20, 25 you said?
25 on top. So yeah,
12 inches of travel in the back on a 3x3. That's not bad.
Alright guys, I got the shock top burned in. Can't say I'm complaining about this. Looks pretty dang good considering I haven't welded in, gosh, I don't know, months at this point. I've not done any sort of fabrication like this in a really long time, so I will take it. But Franklin's on the bottom, he did the overlay plate, I did the tab, and I think I came up pretty good, so I'm very stoked with that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get these arms pulled off so I can paint them because they look horrible. Go ahead and get the upper shock back on, or the upper spring back on, so we can go ahead and put these things back on the ground. So correct misalignments, all the correct hardware, get this thing back on its own weight. Go ahead and get the CVs rebuilt, put back together, re-greased, I'll put those back in, and then we can work on our back half of the car. All right, there you guys see, you can actually have it all bumped out, and man, that thing looks pretty wild. The one thing I noticed is at full bump, we're not hitting the body anymore, and I was kind of curious as to why, but we actually utilize the rear shock mount instead of the front. The rear one pulls everything up higher naturally, so that's why we're hitting the body before. And I'm not going to use these, but it was kind of funny to take these little crappy fiberglass over fenders and mock them up, and I mean, I don't think we could really get much tighter in terms of how this thing fits. We're talking like less than an inch of clearance, and it's perfect. So I'd say Franklin and I did the right thing. We got it nailed it pretty much first try, which is awesome. That's what you want. But you can see how much wheel travel this thing has. It's almost level with the ground, but not quite, which is good. I don't want it obviously to hit the pan on the ground, which is good. Yeah, so we're gonna make a bump pad mount next. So I got just, these are I think off, these are just from O'Reilly's. They're from like a Chevy truck, and we're gonna put a bump pad down in here. I'm gonna tie in off this tube, come down, and then tie in off of this junction right here, go over, and then we're gonna go ahead and basically make a junction off of that tube and the tube up front, make a little mount for this, and this is gonna sit right on the control arm like that, and then we'll have a mount to where it's not just slamming the body of the shock or anything weird. The shock does have a bump stop, which is kind of nice. You can see it right there, and it is using it. I'd rather make an actual one, so we have an actual shock mount, but look at this. Look at this amount of travel, just so you guys can get an idea. Look at that. Damn! This thing is gnarly. Oh, it's so wild. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap that bump pad up, come back, and we should be pretty much wrapped up. So I'm stoked. This is so wild. Look at that.
Funny, I'm just going through adjusting the clutch on this car, and we keep finding like this was covered in grease. You couldn't see any of this, so I wiped it down, and this thing has like a basically brand new CNC hydraulic clutch setup, which is awesome. So I'm just pulling some preload in it because I noticed the clutch pedal in this car, you pretty much had to push your foot about halfway to the floor to get it to even start pressing the clutch, and it made it kind of hard to shift. I'm just gonna put some preload in it, and if you watch, I'll go over to this side of the car. Oh yeah, beautiful now. Look at that, that's way better. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Little job. Don't put that in, it'll beat.
Alright guys, we're getting this last tube welded in over here, which is pretty rad. That'll connect our B pillar to our C pillar essentially, so the back of this car will be much stiffer. And I wanted to go over this because I'm sure you guys had a million questions of how the transformation went from, you know, garbage seat to a brand new one essentially. And this came out absolutely awesome. I'm stoked with this. This looks amazing. Here, let me peel this guy off if I can. Might be a little bit tricky because there's a little bit of paint on it. There we go, look at that. Brand new Corvo seats with a price of like $9 or however much a can of that stuff was. But this stuff works wonders, man. Dupe color vinyl fabric. This is what I did the interior of this car with. This was a gray center console. Did that black, and with the dash that was in this car. This was gray originally. We did this black. You can actually see, well, no, I did a really good job so you can't see. Well, actually, yeah, you can. Look at the handle, it's gray right there. But yeah, this stuff's awesome. See the back of the seat. For whatever reason, I think it went mudding and then it sat in the sun for like 2 years, so that got trashed. And then if we come back here and look at the back of the seat, you know, it looks literally brand new. This is still drying too, so it looks a little shiny. It's not gonna be this shiny all the time. Oh my gosh, look at the fabric. Texture looks so much better. This is probably actually the color. There we go. It's not hard by any means, but that depends on how you apply it. You don't want to bury the paint in this thing, but man, just that transformation in general is gnarly. So I'm super pumped with this, but yeah, go grab yourself a can of this stuff. Works wonders. It's cheap too. All right guys, well after a lot of work, we finally have like a rough back half of what we're doing, which is pretty rad. So you can see the entire back half of this car has changed dramatically from when we started. The interior, a lot of actually the parts on this thing we did. We started off, we were supposed to do steering and CVs, and now we have done 17 other things on top of those 2 things. Because to do the CVs, you gotta do the arms, to do the shock tabs, to do the upper shock mounts, to do the lower shock mounts, to do the straps. It all compounds on each other. And then while you're here, you get the classic case of, well, I'm here, I should probably do this, 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 and this. And now we're here. But we have a super rad rear setup. It looks super clean. We tied in our VNC pillar, really rad. So now we have a support bar there. That'll stiffen up the rear of the car like crazy. That gives us a good point to tie in the rear cage structure. Everything's just working together a little bit better. We got the floor, making welded the floor in. I'm throwing some paint in here, just get everything kind of cleaned up, make it look a little bit better. Seats, those are doing better. Stoked on that. And yeah, everything overall looking a lot better. I'm sure this was a long video and it probably has a bunch of information, stuff you can take and learn on your own projects. Cranking away on the bugs. So next video, back cage is getting done. Franklin's got all the tubes notched up on this. We're gonna get these tacked up right now. And then you'll see all that go together in the next video. You'll watch me build a whole exhaust. It'll be a cool thing. Windows, a bunch of other things are gonna go in. Interior, all that fun stuff. So lots of cool stuff happening, but hope you guys went on to enjoy today's video. Leave a like on it if you did enjoy it. Support me in the builds at 909speedcompany.com. You go down in the description of this video, grab a t-shirt, sticker, whatever. It always helps us. We're gonna be coming out with some bug merchandise for you guys in the very near future, so be on the lookout for that. With that being said, subscribe if you're new. Catch you guys in the next video of the bug. Later guys.